reading from the Holy Gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ according to St. Matthew. At that time Jesus went through the grain fields on the Sabbath. His disciples were hungry, and they began to pluck heads of grain and to eat. But when the Pharisees saw it, they said to him, "Look, your disciples are doing what is not lawful to do on the Sabbath." He said to them, "Have you not read what David did when he was hungry, and those who were with him, how he entered the house of God and ate the bread of the presence, which it was not lawful for him to eat, nor for those who were with him, but only for the priests? Or have you not read in the law how on the Sabbath the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath and are guiltless? I tell you, something greater than the temple is here. And if you had known what this means, I desire mercy and not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the guiltless. For the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath." The problem was that people were working too hard or causing others, making others work too hard. People were working nonstop, 7 days a week, basically day and night. As a solution to this problem, we have the Sabbath. That is, it's not just what they did and what the rule was sort of imposed because of what they did in the past. We're the same way. We're the same species. We're the same kind of people. If it were up to us, very often our greed wouldn't allow us to rest at all. And it's even easier to fall into temptation. It wouldn't allow us, it wouldn't it wouldn't let us allow others to rest at all, those that work for us. And so God imposed this amazing law. Very interesting that God had to force us to rest, because our greed would destroy even that very natural, sort of wholesome thing that we're supposed to do. So there's a problem, and then there's a law that is a solution to a problem, an inbuilt problem within us. Okay. Rules are meant, in general, we can kind of abstract a rule about rules. What are rules about? Rules are meant to correct something that's wrong. And in the end, what they're really for, ultimately, is to free us from a kind of internal slavery. The Sabbath law, among other things, was meant to free us from slavery to greed. So it's very interesting that a law that limits our actions, even though it's limiting in what it says, its goal is freedom. Because the worst kind of bondage that we can have is bondage to ourselves and to our own passions and temptations. Okay. But these rules were not meant to be a new kind of slavery. That is what the Pharisees are treating these rules as. Jesus' disciples, they're walking through a grain field on the Sabbath. They did a very innocent thing. They were hungry. What are you going to do when you're hungry? You're going to eat something. What did they do? They picked off the grains of wheat and they just kind of went like this, just going like this, and picked out the part that's edible. And the Pharisees said, "Look, they did this. They're working. They're breaking the Sabbath law." Come on. What do you mean work? If that's what the rules become to us, that's just a new kind of slavery. That's never what they were intended for. They're definitely not intended, even worse, to be a reason to judge other people. So now what have the Pharisees fallen into? This beautiful law that God gave about Sabbath rest, that's meant to sort of guard the dignity of human nature against slavery to greed. They took that and they twisted it into just a sort of lens through which they could just constantly judge everybody around them and look down on them if they break these rules. That is not what the laws of God are ever meant to be about. Looking down on others. And yet that's what they've become. Here's the thing, if you really believed that breaking this rule was a bad thing for you, that it was harmful, that the rule was a good thing, and that breaking it was going to hurt you, and then when you saw somebody else breaking that rule, when you see other people breaking the rules, you wouldn't feel angry. You should feel sorry for them. But I wonder, when we judge others for not obeying all of the rules, when we're always looking at others, what they do, what they dress like, how do they act, I wonder if really we're just jealous of them. And I wonder if we really believe that God cares about us when he gives us the laws that he gives us. Or maybe we resent him. And I think maybe that's what's going on in the hearts of the Pharisees. Now, Jesus does not at all say, and he never says this, well, forget about rules. Let's just all sort of do whatever we want. It's the farthest thing from Jesus' mind. Jesus says, on the contrary, he came to fulfill the law, down to the last dot. But what does it mean to fulfill the law? To get to the point, not to miss the point of the law. The laws are there to curb our actions so that we can be free to love. I desire mercy and not sacrifice. Love, which is the goal of the law, frees us to love God, but it also frees us to love others and to see them as they are, with all of their struggles and all of the pain that they carry that maybe we don't even understand. It frees us to care about others, because looking down on others and judging them, always watching what are they going to do wrong, which we Chaldeans are great at doing, that's another kind of slavery that we're putting on ourselves and to those around us. Now, since the gospel brings it up, I'm actually going to bring up a particular example of this. The example that Jesus brings up here about this kind of misunderstanding of the law is about priests. Man, it must be a lot of fun to talk about priests. Because people do it all the time. They do it in front of me. And I think to myself, what do they do when I'm not here? They talk about other priests when I'm in front of them. Either the priest is too nice, he's fluffy, he's weak, he's not strong enough, he's not courageous, or he's too mean. Okay, how do you win then? He's too serious, or he's always joking and he's never serious. Great. He's too harsh. He's too soft. And on top of that, the priest's job is to do everything. And nobody else's job is to do anything. If your marriage is in trouble, it's the priest's problem. If your kid is in trouble, it's the priest's problem. It's not your bad parenting. It's the priest's fault because he didn't give the right homily. And if only the priests were a little better, if only the bishops were a little better, if they had done a little bit more, maybe it's the priest's fault that the economy's bad. Maybe if your business isn't doing well, you get to be mad at the priest. Maybe if your candidate didn't win, it's a bishop's fault. Man, everything's our fault. We never do anything right, and you get to talk about us nonstop and judge every single little tiny thing we do. That's fine. Honestly, and I'm going to be really honest with you guys, please do that to me all you want. I can take it. I'm a seasoned veteran. I have tough skin. But when we act like that as a community, don't be surprised when people don't want to step up. When young men don't want to be priests anymore because their community treats them so badly sometimes. Go ahead and do that to me. Don't do it to the younger priests. I know Father Simon's tough too, but still. He's gotten some rough treatment as well, in a kind of famous way sometimes. Okay? But look, if we make mistakes, of course, criticize us, come and talk to, I'm sure I'm going to hear a lot of good criticism after Mass today. Talk to me about it, great, just like you would do with any other person. But give us some credit, we're human beings. Look what these Pharisees, these poor innocent guys, literally picked up a grain, went like this, and ate it. And they, wow, how dare they, they're breaking the law. That's how we feel sometimes. And yes, we are very imperfect. We're the most imperfect people in the world. But we're human beings. We're not God. We're trying to be saints just like you're trying to be saints. What are we supposed to be? We're supposed to be saints too. But so are you. I desire mercy and not sacrifice. When you come up today and receive the Eucharist, that came to you only because of a priest. Remember that. That be merciful, I don't want to just isolate this about priests. Be merciful to the priest, but also to each other and to yourselves. Because we need God's mercy. And when you receive the Eucharist, don't receive the Eucharist because you followed all the rules, you've checked off all the boxes, and you deserve to receive the Eucharist. No, you don't. I don't care how many boxes you've checked. There's nothing you could do to deserve the gift that you're about to receive. Receive the Eucharist because you need, just like I need, God's mercy that came through Christ's sacrifice of love.